Lynn. Mark Bruger, because I'm pretty sure Eric is not here tonight, and if I'm not mistaken, Brian Wolf said he was not going to be here tonight. All right, we are in fact live. We are in fact recording to the cloud now, so we should be good to go. All right, let's start with roll call. Council President Shrimp.
Here.
Councilman Curl.
Here.
Councilman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Wolf is absent. He did advise us that he wasn't going to be here tonight. Councilman Bruger.
Here.
And Councilman Benindetti. Oh, he's working on something. Give us a thumbs up, Tony. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. We are all here. Let's go straight to the Franklin County Auditor, if you guys don't mind, and let her start her presentation. And if you guys have any questions, try to hold them to the end.
All right. Well, good afternoon or good evening, everybody. Let me know if you can't hear me or if I'm muffled, but my name is Latina Humphrey. I am one of the community outreach coordinators for the Franklin County Auditor's Office, and Mr. Michael Stenziano. And he was not able to be here with you all today, so we certainly apologize about that. I do want to just say in the beginning, you all may have some questions. I know you said we'll take questions at the end, but you may have some questions that I may not know about. But we take pride in great customer service. So whatever question you have, I will get back to you within 24 hours, or the auditor will get back with you in 24 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now and get started. Okay. All right, so as Mayor said, we are going to be talking about the triennial value update. Just a second here. Okay. All right, so for those of you who do not know, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a background. But in Ohio, county auditors are required to do a full general reappraisal once every 6 years. On the third year in between reappraisals, county auditors are required by Ohio law to adjust property values based on sales in the market over the past 3 years. Now, the Franklin County Auditor's Office last performed a full property reappraisal in 2017. So now state law requires a triennial update in 2020. Now, the triennial update is done by analyzing trends of current sales in the county. The values are adjusted to reflect current market values for the area and are intended to be used for the next 3 years. So that's 2020, 2021, and 2022. Residential and commercial property values are updated. Appraisal neighborhoods have been updated for this triennial to improve the comparisons used. Now, some constituent and outreach options. So for the Know Your Home value, the Franklin County Auditor's Office is encouraging residents to learn more about their home value and what that means for government services. We are also seeking the input of constituents to finalize the values through informal hearings. Now, we do expect thousands of property owners to participate in both the informal hearings this fall and the formal appears next year regarding their property values. Now, all the information here and more as the campaign continues can be found at your2020homevalue.org. We do want to provide an update of the triennial timeline. So within the next week or so, your tentative value letters will be mailed. So that is on August 21st. And then your informal review sessions will take place between September 1st and October 3rd. Now, the deadline to submit documents for review will be October 9th. And then during October 2020, FCAO, or our Franklin County Auditor's Office, prepares final abstracts of the values. In November of 2020, the Franklin County Auditor's Office will submit the value abstract to the Ohio Department of Taxation. In December of 2020, final values and rates would be approved by the state, and then tax bills will be issued. And this is what your tentative value mailer will look like. So it'll have like your address, and then it'll give you your tentative home value, and then your current home value. And then if you are satisfied with what the value, says, or if you believe that it is accurate, you wouldn't
join the meeting.
You wouldn't need to do anything. You kind of can just stop there. Now, if you believe that your tentative value is incorrect or you have questions, then you would visit your 2020homevalue.org to review your property's information and then the proposed value. Then on that same website, you can schedule your informal value review to discuss the value with our appraisers. Now, if you prefer to do an in-person review, that is also an option. We have changed. So because of COVID, we want to make sure that we're getting to everybody and make sure that this is still a resource for everyone. We are holding our informal values virtually. But if there, for some reason, you can't, do it digitally or, virtually, we do have 3 satellite locations. So we will be at the Columbus Urban League, we will be at a space in Hilliard, and we will be at a space in Reynoldsburg. So if you can't make it, or if you can't do something virtually, we will have in-person reviews. So that's for the people who just absolutely cannot do anything virtually. 3, your final value letters will be mailed to those who participated in the informal process. Now, if you still disagree with what is going on, you still can go through the Board of Revision process, and that will need to be done on or before March 31st, 2021. So look forward to this mailer coming out. So it'll look very similar to this. It'll be obviously a front and back and give you some information. And I kind of already went over that really quickly, but I'm gonna go over a couple points. As you know, in 2020, we will have the informal review sessions, but we also wanna encourage that participation does matter. In 2017, or more than 19,000 parcels were reviewed. 72% did see a decrease. Like I said, we will have limited in-person reviews. So Hilliard, Reynoldsburg, and the Columbus Urban League. So that is your Near East Side. And then for the first time, like we said, if you wish to go through the process, that will be something that can be scheduled online. So remember, that is your 2020homevalue.org. And you can also do this over the phone. So that may be helpful as well. Previously, the online option was only available for commercial property owners. What you can expect from the triennial review. Now, I want to make sure that people understand this. The Franklin County Auditor's Office is looking at the following tentative increased value changes across the Franklin County Auditor's Office based on the past 3-year data. So this is countywide averages based on the past 3-year data. So in the residential class, we saw an increase of property values looking at about 20.32% tentative change. Commercial class, 15.35% tentative change. Industrial class, 16.94% tentative change. In an exempt class, 14.27% tentative change.
Property value.
And we were able to kind of break it down specifically for Minerva Park. And again, this is a past 3-year increase. And so it looks like Minerva Westerville saw the 24.77, and then New Minerva Park saw 21.05 average change. I also just want to add, I added it to the slide for my own recollection, but I do just want to add that the triennial update is not to neither increase or decrease your property taxes, rather just keep the properties up to date with the market. So I do just want to add that. And here's like a small like breakdown of, you know, the changes that we've seen in past years. So, I mean, I guess you could look at Columbus and then maybe look at Westerville, but we did a full breakdown of what we've seen before here. So, all right. And so we want to make sure that we are keeping you all aware of what we're doing to even more help constituents. And I'll go through this quickly. I think we only have about two or so more slides. But we just, like I said, we just want to make sure that people are aware that we are trying to work with constituents who have who may have concerns, or, you know, just want to know what we're doing to help, you know, Franklin County. So Senate Bill 335, looks like Senator Craig, and with the House Bill 449 with Green and Skindle. And then I'll get you more information, but House Bill 439, House Bill 99, adjusting the value of eligibility for the homestead exemption, which is really important. That's for our senior citizens and our persons with disabilities. The income requirement is rather low. That's something that was put in place way before Auditor Stenziano got into office. I believe it was changed in 2013, but that is where peoples with disabilities and our senior citizens can get basically a property, you know, tax adjustment on their property taxes. And also maybe, I don't know if they'll change the age requirement, but definitely I know that they're probably looking at the income requirement for folks to actually qualify. So that is something that I'm excited about. So Senate Bill 212 creates neighborhood development areas that can be enacted by a municipal corporation or township to exempt new construction or improvements to family homes. House Bill 25 requires regular updates about the cost of tax exemptions, including property tax exemptions by the Department of Tax. And I'll go over this one really quickly. So Senate Bill 335, Property Tax Relief and Local Government Support Act. So this one says any homeowner who receives the owner-occupied credit will automatically have the property tax bill capped at no more than 3% of the prior year. Now, the state will refund revenue lost as a result of the gap to the relevant taxing districts, like with the current homestead exemption. Now, all calculation of property tax and equalization process will be the same as current law, including the owner-occupied credit, the homestead exemption, and the non-commercial rate. Now it says after a sale or major renovation, the cap will temporarily not apply until a new base value is set, and then the cap will apply going forward. The cap will not apply to abated property. All right, so the one website that I want to make sure that everybody knows about, because I think that it is really important, and I said it probably about 4 times, so I'll say it again, your2020homevalue.org. That is where when you get your mailer, you can get more information about your property, the proposed or tentative value, and schedule your informal review if you have questions. Again, I want to let people know if you don't have questions, you do not have to sign up for an appointment to do the review. I know you guys know that, but some people may not. As I said, I'm going to stay on for the meeting, but I do want to let you all know if you have questions that I'm not able to answer, we are required to make sure that we respond to you all within 24 hours. So Auditor Stenziano at franklincounty.ohio.gov. And the telephone number to our office is 614-525-HOME, and that's 4663. All right, and I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be here with you all, and I will stay on if you have any questions. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I see David raising his hand. Oh, I see everybody raising their hands. So let's start with David.
I was just gonna say we appreciate your time.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was just a thumbs up. Thank you for me too.
Perfect. All right, nope, Diane, you're on mute.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I was curious, was there any discussion about postponing this, given the COVID for 6 months or a year or something?
Yes. Actually, the auditor was very concerned. He wanted to postpone triennial because he just didn't want that to be a burden on constituents. And I think we did that. I want to say we postponed or went to try to postpone in May. And they got back to us and they were like, no, you have to, the Ohio Department of Tax, they let us know, like, you have to continue. You can't stop it. But we definitely did try. And we, I thought we put out some press about it because we want people to know, like, we actually care and we didn't want to just throw this in people's laps because we understand that it's going to be a hard time.
Okay.
And we extended, as you all know, we worked alongside the Franklin County Treasurer to extend the property tax payment deadline. So.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any questions right now for her?
Joe, you're muted.
Joe, if you're talking, you're muted.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is this something at the auditor's office that was in the works the last couple of years during the improving economy prior to the outbreak of COVID? In other words, what I'm asking is the figures used to determine the values, are these prior to the onset of COVID figures that they're using to determine property values? Because the economy has just changed about 200% in the last 6 months.
Yeah, that is a good question. So I guess what I'm getting from your question is, have the measures changed because so much has changed since COVID? Is that your question?
Well, it's yet to be determined exactly what impact all this unemployment, loss of businesses, revenues across the board for government, all of these matters concern. It's yet to be determined what impact it's going to have on real estate values, so far as I can determine thus far. So yeah, my question really is, are they basing all the data prior to COVID that they're using to reassess these values?
Okay, great question. I don't want to tell you that I'm confident in this answer, but I do believe that it's probably pre-COVID. I do want to say that. But if you put your email in the chat, I can get you an answer for sure by tomorrow.
Well, I'm not in a race for the answer, but it's a general question because, I mean, the economic figures aren't even out yet for most of the impact of this thing. It's impacted everybody.
Right.
So.
Right.
But if it's based on the last 3 years, then it's based on the last 3 years.
Right.
And what's happening. And now, of course, real estate values have been still holding high. They're high. So at the point, you know, if real estate values start trending down, my guess would be it's going to happen towards the end of the year or next year. And so that doesn't impact. That's why I was saying if they postpone the whole thing, we could shift it over and have an average, a 3-year average that would cover at least the first year of COVID, but they were not able to do that. So this whole thing is based on 3 years prior to COVID.
Yeah,
it's based on
that's their normal process.
Yeah, the date is ancient history.
Normal time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then again, here in Franklin County and the city of Columbus itself, we have been fairly lucky to be shielded just by the sheer size and economic powerhouse that surrounds us. So hopefully we do okay. I guess we can hope for that.
Well, after the wave of repossessions happens, we'll see.
Yeah, I think that's the scary part. I think increasing people's property taxes and their mortgage payments and all of that with all of this is, yeah, I will tell you, it's definitely scary to think that some of our property taxes could increase that much, because I'm not sure statewide how many people, or Franklin County wide, how many people are really going to be able to budget for that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. And so, and you're absolutely right about that. We do definitely encourage people to take part in the border revisions process. And that deadline is actually March 31st, 2021. And then also, I mean, if you're worried about the now, which everybody is worried about the now, please take part in the informal review session. We try to work with people because we don't want people to lose.
Perfect. All right. Anybody?
One more question. Are they
Wait a minute, there's an echo right now. I think Tony, okay, try it again. Tony just muted, so I think it'll be okay.
Joey, Mr. Curl, did you have a question?
Well, yeah, my last question was that obviously there's going to be some major changes in economic figures coming as soon as they can even be calculated. And is there anything in the legislation that you discussed or legislation being considered, or is there anything on the books that allows for a review of this should there be some dramatic change soon?
Right now, from what we know, because that is what was put together for me, for what we know right now, that is what we know of. So the property tax cap at 3% so long as there's no extra renovations, and then adjusting the homestead for senior citizens. That's what we know right now. As we get more information, we do try to provide that to the people that we talk to throughout the year. So when I get more information, I definitely can pass it back to you all.
And just a general question, is this residences only? Are they doing any reevaluation of public property, whatever?
Yes, so it is residential and commercial.
But no public property. Okay, I got it.
The thought just occurred to me, should we see some huge wave of increased property values and taxes with the risk of evictions or foreclosures, are there any provisions that you in Franklin County, or I guess people who have been with the legal apparatus longer than I have, would there be any provisions that we as a municipality could undertake to protect our residents from evictions or foreclosures like they do on the national and state level recently? If we need to explore that avenue.
Well, we have to follow national and state rules.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are there provisions that we could do things as well, I guess?
Well, it's before
like on a smaller level.
It's before Congress right now from the executive branch and the federal government to belay repossessions.
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. Thank you. The only thing what I'm getting at is there provisions that we know of that should we wish to go above and beyond or to protect our residents further in Franklin County or the city of Columbus or Minerva Park, do things like that exist, or who would things like that fall to protect our residents from this? That's something that we should be very seriously considering in the upcoming months to the next year. If the federal stuff falls through.
I wish Brian was here tonight because he's the banker of our group. he could.
Yeah, he'd be pretty useful at that question.
To some degree. I don't think that we have any jurisdiction we could exercise over the banks.
That's a good question, Councilman. I don't want to tell a fib. I'm not sure, but I can find out for you. And like I said, if you want to put your email in the chat, well, I'll make sure to get back with you in 24 hours.
Is
All
Gene,
right, I will do that
Yeah.
real
And I'll
quick.
put my email as well.
we could
Yeah,
ask for Gene.
if you want me to weigh in, I think those are generally civil matters. I'm trying to think the authority, like the Fair Housing Administration, they may have federal authority. Generally civil matters, both in the landlord-tenant context and in the, foreclosure on mortgages context. If I hear of anything, Councilman McNamara, I will let you know, but I don't know that we have much of a role to play in that arena.
All right, I guess that's what I was thinking. Probably it would be more of a higher level of government matter, but I just want to make sure that we're doing every
Right.
avenue we can to protect our residents in the event that things really go wonky in the next couple economic seasons.
Sure.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I'd just like to thank you again for your report. It's been very comprehensive and educational. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Curl. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it.
All right. Okay, we want to see if, let's see if we can move ahead to the planning and zoning members. So in case they have things that they want to do tonight, they can also jump off. We have Braden, is it Oxender? I hope I said that right. Yay, okay. And Eddie Bell. Braden lives on Park Lane, Eddie lives on Jordan Road. So we're actually getting some people over here to represent. So just FYI. Okay, so I sent everybody their resumes. I sent that stuff a couple days ago. Is there anybody that has any questions for them for planning and zoning? These are 2 non-voting members. Obviously, I'm going to recommend that we approve them for the 2 non-voting members onto planning and zoning. I will tell you, Tony did have to jump. Well, Tony's having computer issues, so he is still trying to get back on. I'm communicating with him this way. So as of right now, we do only have 1, 2, 3, 4 council members on here. So I don't know if we're good to go, but I'm looking for going ahead and getting this done if anybody doesn't have any issues, problems, or concerns.
I'm not on the planning and zoning committee, and maybe I hate to put this in the meeting, but maybe a real brief answer to exactly what non-voting members do there. Okay,
so we had talked about this quite a bit earlier in the year, maybe even end of last year. We currently have 3 residents at large. There's myself and Tony. That's pretty much planning and zoning. The end of this year, there's going to be 2 seats come up, whether or not those members decide to stay or not. So it would be nice to start getting additional members on planning and zoning that kind of know what's going on. So they will have been to meetings. They'll know what projects are coming. They'll know exactly what we're working on. So the hope is that those members would want to become voting members. They don't have to. They can stay as non-voting members. But the hope is to actually just get some people in the waiting and also have some more opinions, some more hands on deck between green space planning, the zone, trying to update our codes and zoning codes and just everything. It's a lot. So Donna's been taking the lead on a few of those things. Lisa's been going off on plants and different things like that. We all know what Tony's doing. So it would just be nice to have some additional hands trying to help out in green space planning and all of that. So having the additional members is, again, just getting some more residents involved. Simple as that.
Well, I think it's an excellent idea, and the resumes look good to me.
Right.
Yeah, they both look very, very qualified.
Diane?
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. And I think Jean, for this kind of thing, we don't have to do a roll call, do we? We just, yeah, nay?
That's correct. I mean, honestly, if the 4 of you are unanimously, in favor, that really does it. I think the way the ordinance reads is that they're appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent of council. So
Okay,
I think I hear the consent of 4 members of council, and
right.
welcome the new members, non-voting members to the board, and thank them for their service.
Yeah, and Brian Wolf told us that he was in favor, although he couldn't attend tonight. He wanted us to know that he was in favor as well. So
Perfect.
that sounds like we're good to go.
Well,
Awesome.
this I'll mention one thing because it's not the communication report yet, but this touches on that because the residents keep saying to me they would like to see us, and of course the new website provides some opportunities. They'd like to see more information given to the public about scheduling, planning, and finance. So then this would actually make some of that a little more understandable if we wanted to try and have something on the website about what's happening with scheduling and planning as far as zoning goes. Doesn't it all go through zoning?
Everything
The
goes,
building permit.
yeah. All the variances go through planning and zoning. Green space, just most things start in planning and zoning as far as the zoning codes and changing the sidewalk. Everything starts in planning and zoning. So they'll have a lot of input. We'll be able to ask for a lot of input from them. Just so you guys know, and I'll send you guys some stuff tomorrow. So the first meeting for you guys is not this week, but next week, next Wednesday, 7 p.m. at the community building. I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but I will send out some information. We have been meeting in person. You guys are going to put us right at 7 people in that building. So if there's any restraints or anything like that, you guys prefer not to be on there, we can Zoom you guys in, do whatever. But as of now, that body has been meeting in person, 7 p.m., not this Wednesday, but next. But I'll get with you guys. We'll go through everything next week, or I'll send you guys a message tonight or tomorrow. You guys feel free to jump off, but also feel free to stay on here. Up to you guys if you guys want to hang out for a little bit. Does anybody have any questions for them to move on? All right, let's go.
Thank
Code-
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Congratulations,
I'm moving
gentlemen.
inside. Somebody fired up a lawnmower. Sorry.
Okay,
Next
next
door
we're going to
neighbor.
move to the code officer's reports. If anybody wants to take a peek at that, hopefully they've already had a chance to review it a little bit. Again, Jason has got an amazing new app that he uses that really puts this all in black and white to where we can see exactly all of the permits that are coming in, all of the fences, all of the decks, all of the patios, anything that is open or closed as far as animal complaints. He's got everything all the way down to curbs and gutters, any violations, they're all on there. So take a minute, review that. If anybody has any questions, let me know. And then just while you guys are looking at that, for the, just kind of for the record, if anybody has anything that they need to send to him, this goes for council members or residents, and we're working on getting this put on the website. But if you have a code enforcement complaint, you are more than welcome to send him an email at zoningofficer@minervapark.org. And he does respond to those. Anybody got any questions, comments? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Okay, let's move on. If anybody has any questions for him, again, feel free to email him direct. All right, let's go to the meeting minutes. Does anybody had a chance to, and again, we still have 4 members, so I think we're good. I'm trying to make sure nobody falls off here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Has everybody had a chance to review those? Yes, we good? Okay, so April 13th council meeting minutes. Sorry, I'm trying to find them.
I have a related question while you're looking at that. I had a resident call me today and said that of course, I wasn't able to attend the Saturday work session, but they said they can't get it on streaming. So we actually have residents that try and watch those things.
All of the public meetings are live streamed on the Village of Minerva Park Facebook page. All they do is literally open it up on the Facebook page. Starting again, Becky was out today, but starting tomorrow, these will be these are going to be posted on the village the village website. They will be able to view those as many times as they want, but they won't have to have a Facebook page. So the only way currently to live stream is to go on the Village of Minerva Parks Facebook page. But again,
I think what Joe has pointed out is some people tried to go Saturday, and if I recall,
there was a
Saturday's
message
work
on there.
session, we recorded but didn't live stream.
Yeah. So, but there was a message on there for everybody on Saturday. So they should have been able to find that and realize that it wasn't on there. Okay. So I think I just do a motion to approve the April 13th, 2020 council meeting minutes. Does somebody else do that? Do I do that? Who does that?
Yes, you do that.
Okay, cool. A motion to approve April 13th, 2020 council meeting minutes. Tony's
Second.
not on here, so somebody's got to do it.
Second.
Diane seconded it already.
Yeah, I second it.
How are you? Sorry,
all-
Diane.
All in favor? Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Extensions? All right. April 27th, 2020 council meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to put that as everyone. No, I'm kidding. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Extensions? All right. May 11th, 2020 council meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Extensions? There we go. All the meeting minutes are approved. Let's go to the village official reports. Let's start with Chief Rick Hochstetter.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things for you. My report was presented today. It's an email. If you need a copy, please let me know. Also, hydrant flushing is complete, and we have one. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, that's it. Sorry. And we found one hydrant that requires repair up on Padrosa. We'll take care of that. And other than that, please let me know if there are any questions.
Everybody did get my email today. I did forward that as soon as I got it today.
Thank you.
I have a question. There was one medic report on a call that was difficulty breathing. Was that a COVID-related incident?
No, those would be referred to as COVID cases. That was
Okay.
a standard heart issue.
Yeah, I didn't see that on there. That's why I was asking, but I did see one that said difficulty breathing, and I wondered. Thank you.
Right. Actually, if I can add something, we are still waiting for a response from Columbus on the fire contract, but we have a new fire chief, although he's currently appointed on an interim basis. And I did something, I'm kind of curious because I think it's possible that the new fire chief told his opposite in the safety office to kind of take a step back. And we may not get a response on the fire contract, but we'll see. What I did do was I contacted one of my medics who used to work specifically with Chief Happ back before he was appointed chief, because she's got a personal connection to him, and asked her to text him and just offer my congratulations and offer to help any way we can. Just a quick little salvo, because I can't get them to respond to a meeting, but I think that probably is related to the fact that he is currently an interim chief. And he really can't do much of anything until he's appointed permanent chief, which is likely. He's likely to become the chief. So I think my message here is I'd like to just continue to wait and see. We'll see if he responds to my medic. If so, I'll certainly report that.
Chief Hofstetter,
Yes,
do
sir.
we have, to the best of my knowledge, last time I asked, we had not had a positive COVID case reported in Minerva Park as of yet. Is that still the case, or am I off
A
base?
positive what? I'm sorry, say that again?
A COVID case, a positive COVID run in Minerva Park. Is that still the case, or have we found some, or was I off base in my first memory?
I have not been informed of one, no.
Excellent. Everybody's doing what they should do then. Everyone's getting lucky, I suppose. All
right. Does anybody else have any questions? All All right, let's go to Chief Delp.
Thank you, Mayor. Everyone's received a copy of the report, I hope, and I don't know if I have anything to add today.
Oh, does anybody have any questions for Chief?
I looked at the report and I don't have any questions based on that.
All right, we're gonna move right along. Mike is not here. I have been in contact with Mike, obviously, over the last few days. We continue to work on a couple different task orders. We have the sanitary sewer project moving forward. We are putting out the storm sewer bid this week. He is doing the final touches on the baby pool. So we're hoping to get that to ODNR again very shortly. And that's about it as far as Mike goes, I think. Everything's moving forward. We have no issues, no problem. Everything's still continually moving forward with all of our sewer projects. And again, I think we've pushed the only street project we have to next year at this point, and that's the Maplewood one. So Mike's done a wonderful job, and we will now go to Leah, Fiscal Officer.
Hello.
Hi.
For the month of July, the pool brought in $22,954. We also received July's reconciliation from Rita. July 15th was tax day, so we received $93,340 from Rita this month, or for the month of July. Kim and I finished up the audit. They didn't find anything to report, so we're just waiting on the auditor's office to release their final report on that. Kim wanted me to tell you that we've been having issues with the finance computer. So she was not able to remote in to finish reconciling the month of July. So she came in for a couple of hours tonight to finish it up. She got most of it done, but she said she would be able to email it out to you all tomorrow. So you should receive that tomorrow. And that's all I have.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions for Leah? All right, let's go to legal counsel, Gene.
Yeah, and just covered a lot of bases there on Saturday, and congratulations on your wedding there, Mayor, or your son's wedding. But unless I think we discussed probably anything I had to discuss on Saturday, so unless anybody's got any further questions on that, no further report.
Man, I like these reports. Does anybody have any questions for Gene? All right, planning and zoning. Tony's not on here, so I'm going to take the liberty of that one. Tony doesn't have a big report. Let's see. We talked about green space. We talked about the basketball court. We talked about stuff. Let's see. Honestly, there was nothing crazy. I'm trying to think of what we did. We are working on a couple different plants for around the lakes over in the new section, trying to maybe get some things that would deter some of the geese. So we did talk about some things like that. The thing that we talked about with the basketball court was some bamboo around there, a couple different ideas of what we could do as far as not necessarily a fence, because once you fence it in, they can't necessarily see inside of it. But we talked about a couple different things to maybe keep the noise inside that particular area. So we worked on a couple different, we talked about the swimming pools, we talked about a couple zoning things, but nothing is complete out of there yet. So I'll keep you up to date on that as it comes around. Village planning, Eric is not here. He is on vacation this week. So as far as that goes, I know he has been working with MI, so I'm going to give you the quick update on that. MI will be here with us on August 24th. We will do what we did tonight. We will start the meeting with MI at 7 p.m. Unless you guys decide you want to start them a little bit earlier, that's entirely up to you. But as of right now, the plan is to have them August 24th We gave them a list of, I don't want to say it's the punch out list, but we gave them a list of a lot of things, including sidewalks, dead trees, seating areas, drainage areas, all different kinds of things. We gave them a list of about 11 different issues, problems, concerns we had. We gave them that list in advance, obviously, because we're hoping that they're going to come to the August 24th meeting and tell us most of those things are complete. After Eric met with them last week, Eric came back and there was nothing on the list that they had an issue with at this point in time. So I expect most of those things to be done. Obviously, with some of the plantings and things like that, with it continually being 90 degrees, it's probably not the best of an idea to put all that stuff out there right now, but there are things that they are working on right now.
You put a sapling or a flower in this weather, it'll be dead by the end of the day.
Right. So, but that is, if anybody continually has, ideas that they want to talk about, just make sure you're jotting it down, because that is our opportunity. They will be here August 24th to issues, problems, concerns. They did, in fact, mail the check for $25,000. I know Brian had said that he wanted to double check, and I left your guys' meeting, so I don't know if there was an outcome of that, but that has been mailed. So other than that, we need to continue to move forward deciding what we want to do to maintain green space after they're out of there. So I know that Eric has also been dealing with Westerville City Schools. I know he's been dealing with a couple different avenues. I think, Jean, you've been dealing more with the 5454 Cleveland Avenue. So some of the sewer problems, I know that they've emailed Eric with that. So, but I have him working on a couple other things as we speak, as far as fencing goes in some different areas, and dealing with some of our commercial property that way. So just kind of as an FYI, and we can talk about that later.
And that's correct. I'm sorry to interrupt here, but you're absolutely right. On Saturday, we talked about we're waiting on the full report from Flowline with regard to the complaint about Yasmin. But I didn't mention, and I don't think Kirk did either, we've actually been contacted by the new owner of 5454, which is the building north, whose line they tied into, who has reached out to us, and I think Eric's met with them to walk him through the situation. I think they're maybe have some interest in cooperating to figure out they need all the background so they can help figure out how to cooperate with Yasmin to get the stuff fixed. So that is an update that we didn't cover on Saturday. Thank you.
No problem.
That's a breakthrough, is it not?
We've got I think a more aggressive owner of 5454, and obviously the line is actually on their property. I think Yasmin is supposed to help maintain it, but it is on their property. So yes, that is a real advance.
Well, that's two, the pool and this advance.
Yeah.
And Tiffany, on Saturday, we did find the documentation and confirmed 25,000 right amount.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, disappointing, but good. At least it was correct.
Is the baby pool still on track?
Yes, the baby pool is still on track. We expect those documents to be sent to ODNR very shortly. So like 7-10 days, I'm hopeful. Don't quote me on that, but I did talk to him today, and they're just waiting for some final touches on that. Okay, so to go on to, does anybody have any questions for Eric or me? Diane.
I assume you had, when you were asking for MI stuff, there were some emails went back and forth with some chicken scratch list, but you have a list, so you probably formalized that and gave to MI, right?
Yes.
So could I have a copy of that?
Yes, Eric has it. Eric has it, and I know he emailed it to planning and zoning because they asked for it, so I will make sure that you guys all get a copy of that as well.
Okay, thank you.
So if I don't have the formal copy, if I have it, I'll send it to you guys. But if not, I'll send Eric a message and he'll get it as soon as he either gets back or when he sees it.
Okay.
So, but yes, I'll see if I have a copy. If I have the actual formal copy, I'll send it to you guys.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to MPCA. Jillian Dosky is the 2020 recipient of the MPCA scholarship in memory of Nancy Fisher. MPCA membership drive is on. August, they are doing electronic. In September, they do plan to resume door-to-door. The MPCA and village government are doing a 3-month trial with the newsletter 2 separate newsletters, but they're sharing the cost of the printing and mailing. Upcoming events are August 29th is going to be Wine and Cheese, and as of now it is on. We've done pretty well the last 2. We've not had any issues, problems, concerns. It's gone well in my opinion. The MPCA officer election, open seats are going to be the president and secretary if there's any interest. I know we've had a lot of people question how they can volunteer, and these are 2 amazing ways to volunteer. Join the MPCA for president and secretary. September 19th is going to be a mother-child resale at the church. I'm assuming that that is on Jordan Road at the church right here. And I'm sure you guys are going to start seeing more information coming, and I'm sure that there is probably something about it in the newsletter. September 26th is the community-wide garage sale. Super excited about that. But as of right now, it is on. I do not expect that to get canceled as well because unless something crazy happens, because garage sales are allowed. So hopefully that does happen. So that's the report for MPCA. If anybody has any questions, you can ask me just so it's live and I can refer to Jean. Anybody?
Mayor,
Yes?
what was the date on the garage sale?
September 26th. Yes.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, so done. My mayor's report is going to be as short and sweet as it gets. I gave you guys a huge rundown on Saturday, most of which I don't really think belongs here. But just a couple little fun things from, well, maybe not all fun. So the pool, as Leah said, is doing amazing at this point in time. We did purchase a fridge for the pool. Maybe it sounds crazy because we're getting towards the end of the year. However, they are functioning without a working fridge. We've got a lot of employees down there and they try to put their lunches in there. It's 90 degrees outside and we did get a very economical one. It was in the 300 range, just so everybody's aware. It wasn't anything big. It was just something to store their food in and some waters in. And the bad news about the pool is there is some sort of water, I'm going to call it a water line break, but it's not like a Columbus water line break. We have an issue underneath the concrete, which has to be jackhammered out and fixed. And we had our plumber guy that John uses down there. He's the one that came, gave us an estimate, and that is being fixed on Thursday. So as of right now, there is some running water going on, which is not a great thing. So that's your only bad news of the day. But it's being fixed. We already had somebody out there. So we don't expect it to be more than $1,000, but we do expect it to be over 500. So anyways,
That's under the deck someplace?
It's actually in the building. So where the refrigerator is, on Sunday morning, John had to call Brian down and Brian had to clean it out because it was completely flooded in there. So we knew there was a problem. We just wasn't sure exactly what, and he was able to come out first thing today. So he was out first thing today and told us that we had a water line break and he can feel it coming up through the ground. So that's where that is. So hopefully that all goes well Thursday and I don't have additional bad news, but it sounds pretty straightforward. The website is up and running. Go to minervapark.org. You guys can kind of play around with it. Residents can play around with it. Yes, it's different. Everything is in different places. We're gonna have to get used to it. But if anybody has any problems, questions, concerns, this is as far as residents go, shoot me an email. If you're trying to figure out where something is, again, shoot me an email. Becky's in the process of doing some more training on it, like I advised everyone. But right now there's a couple things we're looking to add to it. So if there's additional things that anybody wants to add, great, let me know. One thing that we did talk about, and I believe I did put it in the newsletter, which should be hitting doorstep soon. Rita is going to be doing an audit for us. So this is the one that they will be sending out letters telling people that they need to pay their Rita taxes. And when they don't pay their Rita taxes, that's when they get that fund certified letter. So that is coming. And I do not have a date as to when that's going to start, but we did sign the paperwork to do it. They are not going to be doing in-house, kind of like Franklin County. They are doing a couple in-houses, it sounds like, but they usually come into the community building and do some appointments, but it doesn't sound like they're going to do it. It's all going to end up being virtual, but I'm sure they'll be sending in the letter. It will tell people what they need to do to take care of it. But that is happening. And we do have 2 leaf bids. I emailed everything to that committee and they are emailing each other back and forth. I have been watching one of the emails go back and forth. So hopefully they will be able to determine who the leaf bid is going to, because we do have a reading tonight, but it's all X's. So I hope to have that put it up. They're gonna have to come up with something by the second reading because we have everything and we need to let that person know. So, so as soon as that gets in there, we will advise everybody. So that's my mayor's report. So let's go to, anybody have any questions for me? Diane, muted.
I just lost my mind. Shoot.
Hey, you sound like me.
1 minute was there, and then we talked about legislative, and they're just completely went out of my
I
head.
talked about the pool. I talked about a fridge.
The
I talked
website.
about the website, a water line, and Rita.
Oh, was it Rita? Oh, yes, Rita. I'm glad they have a fridge. I mean, they should have a fridge. They're employees. They work there. They got a place for their lunch. I'm glad they got a fridge. That's me. So, yeah, regarding Rita, have we done a comparison, and are we sure they have all of the new addresses?
The last time, and Leah, you may chime in here shortly. The last time that they were in, and I don't believe Leah was part of this. The last time that they were in, when Janetta was there, I sat with them, gave them all of the new streets in the new development. So they have them. So it's going to be a matter of, let's see what this audit produces. And during that time, Leah has Al's email address. And I sent him commercial properties that I was interested in making sure that those were taken care of as well. That was a couple months ago. So to answer your question, I'm going to go with yes. Are they checking house by house? I'm hoping that that's what this audit is going to prove.
He did say
Speaking
he would
of
be
audits.
available. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I said, speaking of audits, is not the auditor's office who we just heard a report from? Don't they supply the data to Rita that they use?
I would assume that they find the information from the auditor page, but they also, Rita finds their information from the last meeting that all of us were at. They find their information from people filing their taxes. They find their information from when people get a new gas account, an electric bill account. They pull that information from all of those avenues. So it's a matter of, they should be finding them, yes. And yes, they were given the street names. So yes, yes, and yes. So we're hopeful that they are in fact doing it. I guess we're gonna know how many people are on the audit list as soon as it comes through. Anybody else have any questions?
No, I'll just mention as a point or a note that when we did have the last report from Rita, when we were still meeting in the building, they had mentioned the fact that as far as their roles go, that it's kind of a checks and balances whereby they draw information from sources other than the auditor's office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. And I think that's just a matter of dotting their I's and crossing their T's. There's a lot of different ways that they do it. Again, they do it from their federal taxes. They do it from the gas, the electric company. Anytime anybody sets up an account with those places, they said that they're able to pull it from that. But like Diane's alluding to, if they don't have the street names and they don't have them listed as a Minerva Park zone, I'm going to call it that. But if they don't know that Black Sycamore is in the village of Minerva Park, then how do they know that they should be paying? So yes, her question is valid. And yes, we have given that to them. Does anybody have anything else? Okay, let's go to council committee reports. We'll start with Councilman McNamara, community. I know. Hang on, David. Wait. There you go. Maybe.
Sorry about that, guys. Madam Mayor, members of the council and community, it is my honor to announce that we have some progress going on the lake dredging situation. Councilman Curl apparently reached out to the Mucksuckers, a company in Wapakoneta, Ohio, who has returned with an estimate for us. Joe, go ahead and tell them about it if you'd like. That's, you deserve the credit for making some progress.
Yeah, there wasn't any sidebar issue. It's been going on for a while. But we were, various people were trying to find companies that would even engage in this kind of business in our situation, which is complicated by the fact that there may be a lot of dead trees buried in this muck underneath. So other than bulldozers of giant buckets, dredging can be a problem. But this particular company was, I did a project up on Hoover a few years back. It was $1 million shoreline project on 600 feet of shoreline, believe it or not. It was $1 million to renovate that. And the contractor that did that job for the city of Columbus was a company called Ryder Company. They're a very good company. They're here in Columbus. They recommended this place. Apparently at Good Ale Park in Columbus right now, Ryder Company and them are completely redoing the ponds and the fountains there, if you're familiar with Good Ale Park. So they come with a really high recommendation. I had to really lean on the guy to even do an estimate. So, but they'll stand by it.
So I looked at the estimate and it seems relatively affordable compared to the, a couple $100,000 we were discussing. However, I did notice that there are a couple of issues. One being they only claim to remove 1 foot of sediment, whereas previous estimates, I believe Councilman Benedetti, Brugger, or Wolf would remember this better than I, but
Like
something
3
along the
feet.
lines of 3 to 5 being the estimate. And
Well,
also,
There's been a
sorry?
lot of discussion. There's been a lot of discussion on really what the depth of the lakes ideally would be, not necessarily what we can do or not do. However, North Lake's a whole different animal in the sense that it's altogether more shallow in the first place. Now, the
True.
end of the lakes that's in the worst condition are the mouths to both North and South Lake. All
absolutely.
of this stuff that's coming through the storm sewers is debris, mostly leaves and some twigs and trees and even some rubbish now. Comes, oops, hang on.
Until 1 a.m. Tuesday. This watch includes the following counties.
Your weather alarmed. I've been seeing that too.
Yeah,
coming in.
there's
There's a
something going on.
big
Weather
clipper coming
alert.
through all the way from Milwaukee to southern Iowa. But
Well, anyway, that was the weather alert. There's something going on. Anyway, where was I? Oh, as far as this foot depth goes, we can work with these people. If this, this company seems to check out, but if everybody seems to, like this so far, I think the thing to do would be to, like what we're doing with the architects, would be to have them come in and we could, have an interview with them about various aspects. But I think the depth for North Lake and the mouth of it isn't going to be 10 feet or 8 feet like we discussed with parts of South Lake. But
by all means,
by all means. But
Madam Mayor, you're saying something?
It's only the north third of North Lake that's actually plugged. The rest of it's a mess, but this is actually plugged up. They may be able to piecemeal some of this and do, a major improvement without having to approach this whole thing. In other words, do that one section.
Yeah, I definitely think it's worth continuing speaking with them further. Madam Mayor, something that I wanted to speak about with you was, you sent me that list from Franklin Soil and Water. Do you mind shooting me at some point like an email or something with regards to, who we still need to call and what specifically we're asking them for, so that I can kind of help take that load off you?
So here's a couple quick answers, and to try not to turn this into a Lakes meeting right here. So, I mean, I would love
those.
I know, and I would absolutely love if maybe on our Monday work session that we because I feel like we do have a couple different things to talk about. And, you know, even with this mucksuckers, what we could do with this estimate, what we can't do with the estimate. The issue that here's and I've said this a few times. So the issue is basically what I've sent you is a list of people that can come dredge it. Dredging it is not the issue. And maybe I'm saying this wrong. Getting the muck out of the bottom and using a bulldozer is not the problem. The problem is finding somebody to take the sediment from the bottom. So the reason that mucksucker is still one of the pro and the con with mucksucker is they actually suck it up. They put it in that 30 by 50 or whatever bag or whatever they call it. That has to sit. So the pro and con is that has to sit out there and dry out. I don't know what it smells like. I don't know any of that stuff. The next question is, you know, obviously, can we do 2 of those? Can we do 3 of those? Is there anywhere to store it? Because if they're already coming out, couldn't we just do 2 or 3 since the price is not so bad? I'm not sure if we could get a little bit more of that. And again, this is where this goes to a Monday night meeting and maybe asking a couple more questions from Mucksucker. Maybe we could email back and forth a little bit. And finding out if anybody does have any interest in maybe finding out, you know, what about 2 30 by 50, you know, whatever.
Yes.
Getting somebody to take the sediment is the cost of it. Getting it out of here is the cost of it. That is probably 75% of the cost. So what you have is a list of, you have a list of places, and that's where I'm at. I've called the 2 places in Westerville. They then referred me to 2 more places out in Hilliard and somewhere else to try to dump the stuff. And everybody is a big fat no. We will not take it.
So who? I guess the question is, who can I begin calling on that list to take some of the load off you? Because you're doing
just
a bunch. I'm trying to help you.
It's a matter of just calling people and talking to them and getting recommendations. So there really isn't, you know, every time I call somebody, I ask for a recommendation. When they tell me no, because all of them tell me no, I say, okay, do you have any idea of who we could call? Do you have an idea of anybody that would actually take the sediment? And everybody tells me the same thing. You need to find a farmer. A farmer with a lot of land.
I'd like to suggest we title this subject to some further investigation and see what we can turn up. Maybe
we do need to have a
novel approaches to how to get rid of this stuff. We missed the chance to dump it over there.
Correct. And we know that. So I have talked to numerous people. I think it's going to be a really quick conversation on next week. I think it's worth talking about next week. I think that there are ideas, but basically getting rid of the sediment is the #1 issue. So Mucksuckers is the only one that I know of that has this option. And then once it dries out, they come in and remove it. Again, you're going to have these big bags sitting there for weeks on end. But you are, and this is, I talked to them today. I know Joe's been talking to them. You are at a fine line between getting it done this year and not. If you do not do something in probably the next 7 to 10 days, you're probably not going to be able to get them to do it this year. So they said that it would not start until April of next year.
Okay.
I'd like to make
one FYI for everybody.
I'd like to make a very important point. This idea that this stuff suddenly, while it's right here in the lake right now, suddenly if we move it to the shoreline, somehow it constitutes a whole bunch of debris we didn't have. And that's just not true. We're just moving it from the lake bottom to the side of the lake to dry out.
I agree.
Now, if it smells, the lake smells anyway. But
it'll smell less once we're done.
Right.
It is something we can investigate and, you know, get facts on and, more information.
Okay,
let's do this Monday then.
I say we move this too, because everybody on here has probably heard about lakes for the last 5 years, and it's a very important topic, but I think it deserves its own and not right now. But I would love, Diane, if we could put that as a #1 thing. And then again, if we can email a little bit back and forth for people to get some more ideas for Monday and actually come to a meeting prepared for what can Mucksuckers do? What if we call them back and ask them, what about 2 30 by 50? But we'll talk about it after a while.
Yeah,
David, do you have anything else?
I'd like to make one point that we don't make when we're discussing the subject of the lakes. And then we're discussing leaf pickup. Then we're discussing mosquito control. And then we're talking about trees. These, in a way, to take the macro view, are all the same subject. And I just like to make that point that while we treat each thing individually, it's nice to look at the overall picture of the whole thing too.
Yeah. To answer
The
the mayor,
mosquitoes are really bad this year, way worse than before. And I'm sure it's the heat.
No, I would tell you it's because we're not spraying. And unfortunately, we have about 10 people in the village that are thrilled with the fact that we're not spraying. And maybe that's a really low estimate, that are raving about how many, we have not found any West Nile virus or anything to where we have needed to spray, but most of us can't use our backyards right now. And I'm going to agree with you, Joe. So
I use mine. I just have a mosquito net.
I know.
It's an old Marine Corps trick for the jungle.
Right. And again, I think the mosquito topic is something that we need to talk about, because there's just as many complaints about people that can't go outside and use their backyards because how bad they are. But we do have your couple people that are thrilled because we definitely have a lot of fireflies and butterflies. So
yeah,
it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
That
was what I was going. I'm sorry, man. That's what I was going to bring up next, actually, is I've seen a lot of support for our current strategy due to the increase in native wildlife. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I have not seen the complaints about mosquitoes to as much of a degree as I've seen support.
Come check my emails.
David, come on over here for 5 minutes, stand in my yard. And when you leave, if you have any flesh left on your body, we'll get you some Benadryl.
There's actually an update in the newsletter about mosquito spraying to remind people why we're not, because I've gotten enough complaints to suit me for a month. So the complaints are there. So just because we don't see them doesn't mean they're not there. So
I'm
again,
at the epicenter of the mosquitoes. I just take care of it.
I bet. So, okay. Do we have anything else for community? I don't want to rush you. So if you've got something that you want to talk about, community.
I mean, it's probably pretty obvious where I am on this mosquito spray situation, but overall, I'm very happy with the progress of the mucksucker breakthrough, and I look forward to talking about it more. The pool's doing fantastic. It is phenomenal that we, as a community, decided to do it, and it's gone so well. Overall, that's what I've got, and I'm sorry I've monopolized so much time.
That's what we're here for. All right, let's move to finance. Diane. You're on mute.
All right, on finance, I don't have anything additional to report from what Leah has reported, except that we are having a finance meeting on Monday, the 17th at 4:30.
Perfect. And I'll send out those invites, but I'm going to wait till later in the week so we don't misplace them. So, and I think that's on the calendar. So for anybody that doesn't know, all of this stuff is still on the Village of Minerva Parks website. And there's a beautiful calendar that you can download everything to your, is it your Google? I don't know, but you can put it all on your phone now. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, you can. I did test it with Outlook and it works perfectly.
Awesome. Okay. So Monday, the 17th, we will be having that, and I will send out the invites to that shortly, and it will be, will it be live streamed? Yeah. Yeah. Cause we'll be on Zoom. So, okay. Streets is Tony. So quick thing on that. I already gave you guys Mike Flickinger's report. So it's pretty much the same thing. So, there's really nothing else to report there. And I do have, don't worry, you're going to hear, I've been talking to Tony on a couple things. So you guys will get to those in a minute, but it's not street related. So let's go to communications. Joe.
Well, I alluded to several of the communications items prior, but first of all, we postponed the communication meeting, and with input from others, I think it would be a good idea. And of course, Becky's still doing her training on the new website. But as much information as we could get at the next meeting as just a kind of like a preview and a introduction to the website, real briefly, I think would be helpful to everyone. We're talking about the calendar now, but different features. But at the same time, then the subject of the MPCA newsletter came up. We're combining that. And, part of the issues is at what point is that going to be transmitted over to the website, as well as, the hard copies that go out.
It already, as a matter of fact, the latest newsletter is already on the new website.
Okay, great. I've read all the other stuff. I didn't get to that today. The other thing, communications, if we have a pretty good introduction at the beginning of our meeting to that, then I think that can open things up to take a look at what, the future might hold for some kind of planning in terms of what we may want to do long range with the website. As far as right now, I think Tiffany, Mayor Tiffany, and Becky's not here, but I think they could both pretty much mention we've pretty much tapped the capability of it right now, right?
Yeah, the website is completely up and running. The only thing that's missing right now is getting additional things on there. So most of the stuff was transferred from the old website to the new, but not everything. So there are still things that are being uploaded to it. I mean, as far as meeting minutes and things that we weren't able to upload to there, like for example, a lot of our email addresses were all wrong, and all those things have been updated and fixed and yada, yada, yada. So she's still trying to dot her I's, cross her T's on a lot of that stuff to make sure that when you click on something, it actually goes to what it's supposed to go to. For example, again, many of our emails were not doing that. So,
well, we do need to reschedule the communication meeting, and I'm trying to think, get everybody's opinion, what the best time to be would be. And then if it's going to be a comprehensive introduction to the new website, by the committee, as opposed to, say, for example, the mayor's office, then does that get submitted to the newsletter? So if residents would want to tune into this particular communication meeting, then they can have advance notice. That's just a general question for everyone, what they think would be the best idea. But if Becky did a short introduction, and the residents could watch that.
well, I'm just going to go. I'm not in disagreement with you as far as that goes, but I will also say it's live streamed to the Village of Minerva Park, and we get very few people that tune in even to these meetings. So I highly doubt that we're going to have some huge burst of people that just want to come to see a communication committee, but call me crazy.
Well, it would be the new website they'd want to see, I would think, if there's interest. I don't know that there would be a great interest.
Right.
But
and it's listed.
We probably should announce it so that
it's been announced in the newsletter. And it will continue to be announced in the newsletter, and we will draw people to the newsletter, to the new website as far as that we can. And again, you guys are, I think one of the things to remind everybody is, we do have a couple tools that everybody has access to. We can all make posts in PCA, and we can all do different things. You guys can all give me an update if there's something you guys want me to advertise somewhere. Again, now we're getting too in depth in the communication place, but we're here. I mean, you guys can send a message to say, hey, can you post this on the village page? Can you guys put this in the newsletter? I have begged, I don't want to go any further than that, for articles for the newsletter, and for 2 months in a row, I've not gotten one. So I have begged for newsletter articles. I'm not going to beg anymore, but the newsletter is there. It is council members and anybody that wants to add anything to it, Chief Leah, anybody that wants to add to the newsletter is more than welcome to add to the newsletter. So I'm begging.
You need a volunteer staff journalist.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, I put the things in there that, we put the things in there that it's important. But I'm not writing individual committee reports for people unless you ask. If you ask me to do it, I'd be more than happy to, because I attend most of those meetings. But at this point, nobody's adding anything to the newsletter. So I hear what you're saying, but the newsletter is available to everybody to put those articles in.
When we reschedule the next communication meeting, whether anybody tunes in or not, it would be a good idea if we have enough lead time to get it in the newsletter. Mm-hmm. But also, the other thing, I have never talked to the developers of the website. I imagine you have probably considerably. I don't know if that would be a benefit to the communications committee and the council as a whole, or even the village, to get a brief orientation from the website developer on, what can be done in the future.
Okay, so I would still say we're getting too far into the communications right now. And again, I think we're going on 8:30 and we've still got quite a bit to go on. What I would say as far as that goes is, again, I think it depends on exactly what you guys are wanting to control. So I think you guys have to determine what is an administrative function and what is a committee function. And that is something that we continue to go in circles around. Because again, communications and websites and newsletters and what goes in it and what doesn't, and what is, you know, administrative and what is you. I mean, you guys, we all just keep going in circles. So right now it's all being done by the administration. It's being done what I would consider as good as possible with everything that we have. So, but communications, yeah, I mean, unless you're going to go after mid-September, the next newsletter is not going to go out until at least early September. So unless you're planning on holding a communication committee after that, it's not going to go in a newsletter. We just sent the last newsletter out. So they only go out once a month. So that's entirely up to you.
Well, I wasn't viewing it so much as a control issue or, you know, whose role it's what, whether it be the administration or the council, as it is a learning because it's new.
Right.
And the
No,
more of
having
us
Becky-
that can
yeah.
learn as much as we can about it, the better decisions we can make in terms of even, I suppose, without talking to the developer, if say the communications committee wanted to put some report in there, the website goes to extra pages, do they charge for this sort of thing, or do you have to add sections? That would be the
Becky
question.
does all of it. She adds different sections. She adds different things because she's adding drop down things to be able to do complaints for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's plenty of functions that it can do. So again, having her on there is not an issue. I would tell you that, you know, she will be flexible for us. I just remind everybody that if it's after her scheduled hours that, you know, then she goes into overtime. So just keep that into consideration. I would have to either let her not come in late one day or do something like that if we don't do it between 8 and 4, Monday through Friday.
Well,
So
that's why I postponed it, and I'll work it out with Brian, who's not here,
Yes.
and with Diane as to when we think the soonest possible time we could make an effective meeting out of it.
we will make arrangements to do whatever makes you guys happy. Becky's flexible. She will try to do whatever she can to make you guys happy and to make sure that we have plenty of time to do it. So, so yeah, if you guys want to get working on that, send out a couple emails for some dates. I'll get them to Becky and she can, once you guys narrow it down, maybe give her 2 or 3 options. Does anybody have any questions for Joe for communications? All right, let's go to safety. Brian is not here. Does anybody have anything for him? Did he leave anything?
Since I was at that one, I was going to do a quick rundown, just so we have a report on it. If that's okay with everyone.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 of the big things discussed. One was issues with speeding or not. We're going to look into getting some of those we have the great big trailer based what your speed thing is, but getting some of the smaller ones that we could put around the village. Just from preliminary research, they're not cheap. To get a little solar powered jobby that's going to track your speed and tell you how fast you're going, those are north of $5,000-6,000 a piece. Chief Delp was saying he knew some people in other forces who might have things that we can record, like unseen, but just keep track of how many cars go by and what speed they're at. Did you get anywhere with that?
Yeah, the people I reached out to, it's currently being used by another department, so we're just waiting for them to finish up, and then it'll be our turn.
Awesome, that'll be great. The other thing we did is we sat down and looked some at Minerva Parks Police, some of their training and use of force procedures. We went through them with Chief Delp. Everyone on the committee was very much satisfied with the procedures and training that we have in place. Some of that is, when we looked at use of force, which, and correct me if I'm saying it wrong, Chief, is anything from like, yep, we had to like really grab the guy and force him into the handcuffs. Minerva Park had 2 in the calendar year of 2019. So luckily for us, good police force and not really an issue for us. And that was pretty much safety committee.
Awesome.
Have there been any complaints regarding any parking as far as safety goes? Mark?
Like on the side of the street, like
Well,
in.
Just an example, and I'm not saying anything in my opinion on this, but for example, if you come off 161 and you come down Ponderosa, sometimes there's vehicles before the first stop sign before it converts over to East Shore. Then sometimes there's parking along where the Korean church is there. And it seems to me like it's kind of obstructive to have parking there. But then I don't know what the situation is with like where David lives, the condominiums there, or if they need that parking or not. But,
Yeah, I have not received any complaints about parking now.
okay.
All right, which I guess brings us to legislation, which is me as well. We have not had a meeting since our last meeting, so there's not a lot new. I know planning and zoning has gotten us some recommendations for our deck codes, and they are working on a pool and like when you would need a fence in particular. We will take those up at our meeting on August 24th. And just a few moments ago, I did send an email to Becky to change that time. It was supposed to start at 6:30. I sent an email to seeing if she could change it to 6. Hopefully people can still make it. I know last time they did. I just think it's nicer to get it at 6, give that full hour. And if you don't get that hour, get a break in before council meeting. So I sent that off, and that's legislative. Any questions?
Nope.
Oh, and then it's me.
Yep.
Okay. New legislation to get read in tonight. So starting with resolution 2020-26 leaf pickup. Resolution authorizing a contract with somebody for leaf pickup for some amount of money. We currently have 2 companies, I believe, who put in bids, and whoever is at streets or community is going to have to decide. Streets will decide which one they want to accept. We are reading this tonight so that we can get the 3 readings in time to get a contract signed with them this year. Is that correct, Mayor Hughes?
That is correct. We're literally going to have this read 3 days. The third reading is 3 days before the 30 days. So we have to do our first reading tonight. I have emailed everything to Joe, Tony, and David to review those 2 so they can determine which one is best. If they need to do a Zoom meeting or something like that, they're more than welcome to. I'll help them set that up. But as of right now, it's in their hands to make a determination between which one of the 2. They are different. So there's some differences between it. I basically emailed them both of the bids as well as what the actual qualifications were. So I sent all 3 things in one email so they have it all in front of them so they can compare what they received compared to what we want.
We enter into
So I responded.
Yes, you did. Thank you. You're the only one though.
I responded to one of those as well.
We enter into a contract to do those deals, do we not?
Say that again.
If a bid's awarded, don't we award a contract?
Correct.
It is part of the bid package now, yes.
Yeah, do we have good stuff in there for conflict resolution? We've had some issues in the past.
We probably use the same contract documents, Joe, for years. I would have to go back and look to see what's going on. But yeah, well, that's why we wanted to encourage, a couple participants in the bidding so that we had a choice if we were having service issues.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. So there was debate on that one. Okay, now ordinance 08-2020 supplemental appropriations, 3rd reading. This, of course, is the 3rd reading. I've talked about this before. Moving some money around from different budgets, not different budgets, but different areas due to the restructuring of our administrative employees. This being the 3rd meeting, I will move for its passage.
We have a second?
I don't know,
Second.
someone give me number 2. Dave got it.
Second. All right. Well, we only have 4 on here, so I don't know what this is going to do to my other one. Okay, so Councilman Brugger,
Aye.
Council President Shrimp,
Aye.
Councilman Curl,
Aye.
and Councilman McNamara.
Aye.
All right, so that has passed. Speaking of which, Mayor Hughes, do we want to try to get Tony
Yes.
to call in for 10-20-20? That will need more than 4 people.
Do we
If we
have, that's what I was wondering. We need 5 for an emergency, don't we?
Yeah,
We need 5 to waive readings, but we don't have to waive readings on that.
No,
And
we don't.
We need 4 for an emergency works, 2/3.
Okay, so I think we're good.
Okay, awesome. All
Okay.
right, well, that's everyone out there watching, all 5 of you, that little bit of drama coming up. Ordinance 09-2020. No, it really is. I looked at it. There's 5 people. This is sidewalks. So this is the codification for repairs to sidewalks in the newer section of the village. It just lists out what constitutes a sidewalk and it needs repaired, says that the primary person for that is the homeowner, lays out how the village will do it if forced to. And then a whole bunch of stuff that I don't understand about the different weights of concrete and size of gravel so that contractors can put it down right. This is a 3rd reading, so I'll move to pass it.
Second.
Okay. And now we're gonna go to discussion, I'm assuming, because Tony actually wants to discuss it. He basically says, MI sidewalks are 4 feet wide. The code says 5 foot wide. One place says it's 4 inches in concrete. Another place says it's 6 inches of concrete. MI sidewalks are broom finished. Code says broom or float finish. There are more corrections that need to be made, and is not in favor of passing it at this time without all of the corrections fixed. He would like to table it, and I'm just repeating what I'm told.
So he's discussing 4 inches for sidewalks.
No, MI sidewalks are 4 feet wide. The code says 5 feet wide. There's some discrepancies apparently in the legislation that we're trying to pass. There's several discrepancies.
Thickness was my question, because usually driveway aprons are thicker than sidewalks, just in general.
If there are discrepancies that he's found out in there where different things are different things, I would also recommend we table it, go through it, correct the, inconsistencies and typos. So I guess.
I have not verified it. If anybody wants to verify it or anything, I
just know that he's brought up those 2 points in the beginning. And I thought they were answered. I really did, because the 2 are familiar to me. And I thought that Eric had a logical answer regarding what was in there. That's all I remember, is that it was, I thought it was handled, so.
What I'm hearing from what Tiffany's saying is he's finding things in there where it says, like in our code, it needs to be 5 feet.
No, I know that, and I don't remember. I remember this coming up originally, and I remember the answer, and the answer sounded logical, and it was exactly that. It was about the 5 feet versus 4 feet, and it was answered, and at the time I thought everyone was satisfied with that answer, but now I can't remember all the details about it, but anyway, I mean, here we go. So I guess we're tabling it. That's bottom line.
Yeah,
Well, again, I don't kill the messenger. I'm reading in
I mean,
text.
that means we're still just holding pattern on a 3rd read, and it's not something that is a big rush.
No,
Yeah,
we
this
have
doesn't sound
We
emergent.
have to table it, right?
Right, just a motion to table from,
I move to table.
Second.
Hang on.
It's not a roll call, right, though?
It's just
No,
all
I
in
think-
favor?
we could do all in favor, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, extensions? We're good. Okay, back on the table.
Okay, moving on to ordinance 10-2020, updating the employee handbook. This just allows for employees of the village to be able to share sick days. It's something that most well, at least I know public schools do all the time. If someone runs out of sick days, teachers can donate them to them. This is a third reading. We have reason to believe that people might need to do this within the next 30 days. So we are being asked to pass it as an emergency so it can take effect and be used if
In the event
if
it's
that comes
needed.
to pass. In the event that it's needed. Thank you. That's what I was looking for.
That's it. All right.
So I move to pass it as an emergency.
Anybody second?
Chief's got his hand up.
Oh, sorry.
Second.
Oh, Chief, you have a question?
If I could just inject here, I was looking at the donating leave in section G, if you can all refer to that. In G4, it says retain a sick leave balance of at least 320, but then parentheses says 240. I believe that is supposed to be worded at 240.
Is that something we can just adjust tomorrow morning?
Well, we have to agree to it.
I mean, if we do it.
It just needs to be clarified which one that's supposed to be. And I believe it was 240.
Well, we can change typos without having to have more readings, can we not?
I believe if it's a typo.
Yeah, no, whoever, I think Mark moved, as long as he would add it to his motion to adjust that to make it.
Yeah, so I would amend it to say 240 in the words to match the actual numerals printed in the parentheses. Or
Yeah.
passage.
And then
Second.
we will make that correction before we actually sign the final version. Thank you.
Perfect.
Oh, great.
Thank you, Chief. All right, so first, and I'm looking for a second.
Second.
Joe? All right, and so we have, lost my sheet. Councilman Curl,
Aye.
Council President Schrumpf,
Bye.
Councilman Brugger,
Aye.
and Councilman McNamara.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, first reading of ordinance 11/2020. In order to approving an amended plan residential district zoning text from MI Homes of Central Ohio LLC. This is the start of us taking ownership of that land. Well, not ownership, I guess, but however you'd want to say, right?
I'm looking for this. Hang on. No, I don't think that's what this is. I think I might have an explanation. Hang on.
Okay.
But why
I
can't
think this
find
is this the corner lot fence?
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
So-
Next amendment.
This is, yeah. Because
So
we already
this
have-
is,
We're not actually, we're amending this,
yes,
correct?
yes.
That's right. Thank you.
And then I'm just going to give you guys already a quick little heads up that there will be discussion on this. And the reason I'm giving you a heads up is there's a question, and Gene, and maybe you guys talked about this on Saturday, but there is a question about whether or not amending the zoning text of the new development is enough, or whether or not it should be matched with zoning codes in the old section, new section. There was some argument in planning and zoning, and I think maybe I'll just leave it at that because it was not my argument. But I know that there's some questions concerning whether or not this is an actual appropriate measure to do.
Okay.
And there was a little discussion, but it bears more discussion as we go through the reading. So yeah.
Perfect. So
Yep.
you guys probably already knew about it. So that was all I have to say about that. And it's first reading, so it doesn't matter. All right.
All right. That is, I believe,
Yes.
everything read and done.
All right. Let's go to new business. Does anybody have anything for new business? Oh, sorry. All right. Since we have
So they
nothing.
did mention mosquitoes for new business. Is that something? That's old business, is it not?
Okay. No, whichever. So, okay, so that's new business. And then if we don't have anything, let's go to old. Anybody with old? Joe, do you got anything? Forever hold your peace. Because I think everybody else is done.
But whatever we're doing about mosquitoes.
At this point, we're not doing anything. I'm going to leave it. The quick version is we have a program that is extremely expensive, but it was our only option and it remains our only option. The only time that we spray is in the event we have some sort of disease-borne mosquito, West Nile virus, Zika, whatever. That's the only way. And at this point in time, they have not found anything in our traps. So we will continue on the plan that we're on. We only spray in the event that we find something that needs to be sprayed.
Excellent.
And I will tell you that, you know, this is something I do want to talk about later on because it's excellent for some and it's not excellent for others. So it's something that, you know, we have lakes, we have standing water. Fortunately, we haven't had as much standing water this year, but it's something that people that are on the lakes and around the lakes are definitely seeing, having some issues and yada, yada, yada. So you get it. Okay. Any other old business, new business? All right. Move to adjourn. Oh, wait.
I'm sorry.
Under the wire, Diane.
I don't want to make, I'm just really quick. In the finance discussion, you know, one of our special projects is facility moving forward with some. So we'll just say that there are 2 architects who submitted their qualifications and we'll be doing interviews later this month. So that's status report. That's it.
That's a biggie.
All right. So can we move to adjourn? Somebody,
I move to adjourn this meeting.
Yeah.
All right. Second. Anybody opposed? All those in favor?
Any abstentions?
Opposed, extensions. Yeah, let's go. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a wonderful evening, everyone.